I would like to start our service today by acknowledging the first peoples here. The land upon which our sanctuary stands was once the home of the Snohomish people, who continue to carry on their culture and traditions, and whose languages are still spoken. We remember this and honor them and also care for the land. And we who lead worship services depend on the dedication and expertise of our technical team. And to be accurate, their skills range far beyond technical. So this morning we are served by Mavis Kaufman and Sarah Richards. So Mavis and Sarah, I'm very grateful for you, for your help. Now let us worship. These are the words of Maureen Killoran. Welcome, you who come in need of healing, you who are confused or have been betrayed. Welcome with your problems and your pain. Welcome to your joys and wonderings. Welcome your need to hope, your longing for assurance. Instead of answers, here may you find safety for our struggles. People with hands and hearts to join you in engaging the challenges of our day. Now, Maureen Killoran's words are a good introduction to this month's worship theme, healing. Healing. Appropriate this year, don't you think? Appropriate right now, in fact. But healing puzzles me. The more I think about it, the harder it is to visualize something tangible, like a goal you might work towards, where you can say, I have finished my task. Maybe that means I'm thinking too much. Still, from my wonderings, I've got a few hunches about healing, about the process and the product. So I'm going to tell you what they are, all four of them. I think of them as hypotheses. So here's hunch number one. Thinking of healing in the abstract is like getting the cart before the horse. The hurt comes first. You need to know what the hurt is. Hunch number two. Healing has a lot to do with sharing our hurts and suffering with other people, with our community. I think that can be tricky sometimes. This sharing is not a plea for pity or a request for help. I'll use a cliche here. It's a matter of putting yourself out there. Hunch number three, healing is personal, not collective. And hunch number four, healing is a narrative. You're the author. It has an arc, a beginning, a middle, an end, or perhaps a beginning but no end. I'm on shaky ground here, but not about this. Whatever the healing process is for you, it's good to remember others have traveled the same road and are traveling with you now. Now, it's our good fortune that we will hear from some of them this month. In today's service, our guest speaker is the Reverend Theresa Soto. They are serving their own congregation today, so they have prepared two videos for us. They will offer, I'm sure, I know, a more profound view of healing. Reverend Soto has been a minister since I think about 2016. They came to professional ministry after careers in education and law. By the way, Reverend Soto prefers the pronoun they and them. They were the 2019 In Spirit series author of the book Spilling the Light, Meditations on Hope and Resilience. And this is a collection of meditations and prayers from the UUA Press. Reverend Soto is currently serving as the lead minister of the First Unitarian Church of Oakland. They are married to the Reverend Sean Parker Dennison, who ministers in Ashland, Oregon. And they have a small white dog with brown ears named Mr. Nancy. I will now light a chalice, a candle representing our chalice. The words for our chalice lighting are adapted from Lisa Doge. Why a flaming chalice? The answer, it's the cup of life. A cup of blessings overflowing, a cup of water to quench our spirit's thirst, a cup of wine for celebration and dedication, the flame of truth, the fire of purification, oil for anointing, oil for healing. So may it be that way for us. In these days of uncertainty, sorrow, and rage. And let it be a light to warm our souls and guide us home. Now I invite you to join me in our affirmation. The words will have appeared on your screen. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is its practice. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Reverend Soto is a poet, and her poetry has been shared pretty widely. In our first video today, Reverend Soto debuts a poem that speaks to our times and speaks to us here in Whidbey Island directly.
Unitarian Universalist congregation of Whidbey Island, this poem is for you. It's never been heard anywhere else, and I wrote it myself. I'll be sharing it other places, but you are first to hear it. It's called Your Heart Will Beat About 100,000 Times a Day. Are you ready? Your heart will beat around 100,000 times a day. Through rain or shine mostly, thank goodness. And this is true even as the four chambers of your heart flood with the uncertainty of this day. From basement to attic, riptides of anxiety, of unadulterated fear. Will this election, and what about the virus, and what about white supremacy? And when there are no convenient, easy to open, easy to understand, single-use answers, we must rely on a single complicated truth. That in times of disruption, clarity is more important than certainty. So, let's be clear. All is not lost. You have brought your heart. And no matter what happens next, we will remain connected, committed, and caring. Remembering futures to which we have not yet arrived, but which we reach. We are each other's, in our loudly beating hearts, each other's map, each other's compass, each other's way. Your heart will beat around 100,000 times a day.
As Reverend Soto says in her poem, these are indeed times of disruption. And in the thick of it, we may forget that, to quote her, we are each other's map, we are each other's compass. The healing process begins with naming the disruptions in our lives, with acknowledging the world's weight that bears on us so heavily. In doing so, we take the first steps in coming out on the other side, lighter, with clarity. We are whole then, anchored, and we can embrace the words of M. Scott Momaday. I stand in good relation to all that is beautiful. You see, I am alive, I am alive. Our first hymn today is When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. It's one that we know. The hymn has always had a contemplative tone for me. It's also a hymn of feeling. As we sing the hymn, you might ask yourself what holy place your heart is in, or where you want it to be. One of the themes that I have noted in Reverend Soto's sermon that we'll be playing in a moment is our personal responsibility for healing. You must act, they say. You must declare your losses. Note what speaks to you, I suggest, as you listen today, and then join us after the service for our sermon discussion group. The title of Reverend Soto's sermon is In Everything.
Hello, my name is Reverend Theresa Soto, and I am the lead minister at the First Unitarian Church of Oakland. I'm really happy to be here with you today. I'd ask that you join me in this moment by relaxing into your chair, relaxing your face, relaxing your hands, relaxing your feet, and in just a moment, we'll begin. We're thankful to be here together today. And even though this is a difficult time during a pandemic, we know that this power of being together will make all the difference. I pray that this word will bloom in people's hearts and offer them nurture, clarity, and courage. For all these things I give thanks and say, Amen. The story I would like to offer you today is about the phoenix. The phoenix is a mythical creature associated with the sun. It's a majestic bird like an eagle or a peacock and covered with brightly colored feathers like purples, yellows, and reds. And it has sparkling blue eyes like sapphires. The phoenix is fabled to live up to 1,000 years. And then it makes a funeral pyre, and with a clap of its wings, it dies in a giant blaze. There are two significant stories of what happens afterward. In the first, most common one, the phoenix arises gloriously from the ashes. Another narrative, though, is that the phoenix is burned up and the phoenix itself doesn't come back to life, but there is an egg in the phoenix's beak, and that egg turns into the next phoenix. Either way, the legend reveals a story of regeneration, of growing back after significant tragedy. While in many ways the pandemic we are currently experiencing is more of a chronic grief than an acute one, it matters for us to talk about how you can tend to your grief and that of those around you, as well as being able to imagine and engage with a future after this time of loss, change, and transition. How do we harness the power of regeneration to tend to our hearts when they break? An important thing to remember about the experience of a broken heart is that as our brains process this pain, they don't make a distinction between emotional pain from grief or change perhaps, and physical pain, like a broken arm or a sprained ankle. The research on this subject even indicates that, given a choice, people generally prefer physical pain to emotional pain. Another important thing to remember about the process of healing a broken heart is this: you cannot heal a broken heart in isolation. We need each other, and we heal each other. Margaret Mead, the famous anthropologist, once answered a student's question about civilization this way: the first sign of civilization in an ancient culture was a femur, or a thigh bone, that had been broken and then healed. Mead went on to explain, in the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you die. You cannot run from danger, get to the river for a drink, or hunt for food. You are meat for prowling beasts. No animal survives a broken leg long enough for the bone to heal. A broken femur that has healed is evidence that someone has taken time to stay with the one who fell, has bound up the wound, has carried the person to safety, and has tended the person through recovery. Helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts. We are at our best when we serve others. The part about civilization is a good reminder, but let's also shift our focus to what the story says about healing. The science of broken hearts offers that significant social support allows for, guess what? Less pain. When you are feeling heartbreak, surround yourself with caring people. Some of you are here today for that very reason. Right now, congratulate yourself for making good choices. Good job. When you know others have a broken heart, act in supportive ways and be willing to witness and listen to their story and affirm their experience both as real and as painful. Humans are built to fit in somewhere. As you can offer people the experience of belonging with you and in your community, you make that opportunity for social support and healing. You will need to both give and receive support in your community. The support of community is essential, but one other tool is absolutely necessary. To heal a painful heart or a broken heart, the crucial thing that you must do is decide to act and let go. Heartbreak will try to tell you only about the good parts of your memories, of what you've lost. It will forget to tell you about the hard parts. And as we move through the pandemic, it's easy for us to remember the good old days. And they were good. That's not incorrect. But one way to manage the grief of this disruption is for us to commit to letting go of idealizing the good old days. This is difficult when you don't know exactly what will happen next. Are you keeping your heart in suspended animation, waiting for things to go back the way they were before you connect with your joy, your hope, and your power? In the way that Unitarian Universalism offers a perspective on multiple things happening at once, or using a framework of both and, grief is real. Loss is real. And I am not telling you that you are wrong to grieve. In fact, you are right when you do. Dr. William Scheel, a white rheumatologist, offers that grief is the normal process of reacting to a loss. And that is the case with pandemic grief as well. Healing your grief, having it witnessed, learning its truth may be your current task. And multiple things can be true at once. For some of you, it is the uncertainty of the time that is causing you pain and discomfort. But healing is also calling to you. Your heart is asking for you to tend it and to emerge in your next regeneration. This is where the letting go comes in. Without letting go of the pain, you leave no room for what comes next, and especially not for healing. White professor of medicine and mindfulness, John Kabat-Zinn, tells a story of how farmers in India would catch monkeys that were destroying their crops. Because they practiced compassion, shooting or killing the monkeys was not an option. They had to find a way. They especially wanted to capture the monkeys and return them to the jungle. After observing the monkeys, one farmer found a way. He cut a small hole in a coconut, just big enough so that the monkey could slide his hand through. He put a banana inside the coconut and tied it to the side of a tree. The monkey came to the coconut, smelled the banana, stuck his hand into the coconut to grab the banana, and tried to pull his hand out. But when he tried to pull it out, because his hand was clenched in a fist, and the monkey refused to let go of the banana, the farmer was able to capture it. Your heart is strong enough to let go. In a season of disruption like the one we are in, certainty about what comes next can be hard to come by. Rather than certainty, a healthy goal is equity. White technologist Scott Barstow describes the difference between the two this way. Clarity is when you have enough information to make an informed, best possible decision, and then you can make the decision and go. Certainty is grinding on that last 10% of a decision to get all possible information at the expense of time and possibly advantage. Let's be clear then. One common approach to heartbreak and grief is to ignore the problem. This might be right for you, but letting time pass is not an actual tool for healing. Dr. Anthony Pasquale-Leone states that the specifics of what hurts really matter. He says that if you want to get past feeling upset, then you have to take the time to focus on your feelings and figure out what hurts the most. What do you most deeply need to respond to that pain? Unitarian Universalist communities are feeling lots of needs right now. Just as I invite you to embrace your own needs, I invite you to consider the needs of your congregation and community. And take solace. Embrace the healing power that clarity and over certainty can provide. Pasquale-Leone goes on to say that one of the reasons people have trouble finishing their grief process is because there are actually so many undeclared losses. Clarity then is for us to use healing listening to help each other both mourn and heal. Listening allows for people to be heard. Meg Wheatley is a white American writer and consultant of organizations, change, and equity. She asks, why is being heard so healing? I don't know the full answer to that question, but I do know it has something to do with the fact that listening creates relationship. We know from science that nothing in the universe exists as an isolated or independent entity. Everything takes from relationships, be it subatomic particles, sharing energy or ecosystems, sharing food. In the web of life, nothing lives alone. When we listen to one another, we are healed because of that witness, because of the affirmation. You are real, you are here, I see you, you matter. The thing that only exists in two places in the universe, your heart and your mind, matters to me. I am here to pay attention to it. Nothing lives alone. We can heal our broken hearts. We can help to heal the broken hearts of others. May it be so. Let us see to it.
Our life flows on, an endless song from the Oakland UU Choir. It's our last hymn today. And it is one we will sing again during this month of healing. It's a fitting hymn, and it follows well from what Reverend Soto has told us. It is a hymn of hope.
My life goes on in endless song of others' lamentation. I hear the rhythm of far-off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in
Our dedicated offering this week is in support of Civility First. Now, this is an organization that promotes listening to and learning from people with perspectives different from our own. Supporters of Civility First are a group of citizens representing a wide range of political views. And they have come together to repudiate the divisive language that we've all been hearing and hate speech that's permeating our society. Its mission is to bring information and resources to citizens and organizations that will help them become more aware and skilled in remaining civil and respectful in public dialogue. Imagine that. Civility First maintains that being heard and hearing others will not happen without respectful listening. Civility First has sponsored presentations, panel discussions, and training for community members here on Whidbey Island. For example, they recently hosted a conversation with the authors of a book called Beyond Civility, which focused on ways to talk across political lines without demonizing the other side. And then they also sponsor a monthly workshop on how to maintain our civil connections when the circumstances are challenging. You can learn more about them by visiting their website. There's a link in our most recent e-news. Your donation to them will help keep the movement growing. They are working to match right now an anonymous grant of $15,000 to help them hire a part-time director, as well as pay for speakers and events. Now, to make your contribution, you can, of course, mail a check to UUCWI or contribute through our online donation form using a credit or debit card. On the home page, as you know, just click donations in the menu bar at the top of the screen and you'll find more information about how to do that. Thank you for supporting this community organization. Now I will extinguish our chalice with the words of Madison Fontes. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts with its message of love and justice. Let us outside these walls, let it inside these walls of the world we live in until we are together again. Go in peace.